Here's the next question. Did Jesus teach reincarnation? Did Jesus teach reincarnation? Yes. Lord, I hope so, because that would make my life this time around be really weird if it wasn't, if he didn't. Did Jesus teach reincarnation? It is one of the few things that actually made it into the modern Bible, even though the modern Christians think of it more of as a metaphysical experience as opposed to teaching reincarnation. Giving you the example, let me move my mic up in here because I've had people tell me that my videos have been quiet. I'm hoping that the changes that I've made will fix that for people. If anybody else has problems with the videos being quiet, let me know because I don't know how to fix that otherwise. But did Jesus teach reincarnation? In the Bible, he says to the disciples, "Who do they say that I am?" And the disciples say, "Some say you are Elijah returned." And Jesus says, "No, I tell you, Elijah has come already, and you have shunned him," referring to John the Baptist. So I think about that for a second. If for the disciples to believe that Elijah could return and be Jesus of Nazareth, that's a pretty good example of reincarnation. But Jesus himself said that Elijah did return and was John the Baptist. So Jesus absolutely believed in reincarnation, and that was part of the teaching. But the interesting thing about the reincarnation aspect was it came down to the nature of who we are. Reincarnation is an interesting animal, but if you think about it like this, back in the back in the 60s, a car came out called the Camaro. Everyone was all into the Camaro. And it had a really cool life. And as it got older, it became less and less and diminished, and it died in the 90s. And then, years later, it was reincarnated. Now, the car that came out years later had a slight resemblance to the original car, but functionally, it had nothing to do with the original car. It was just an appearance, right? So it was reincarnated. It was something new, something different, right? And that's a strange way of looking at it. But think about the idea of, and I'm going to, just by the way, just so you know, anytime I have an opportunity to do the Yoda voice, I'm going to do it because I love it. Sorry. Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. I have these experiences in life, and I've had them all my life, where I've suddenly felt a presence and knew it was Jeshua, knew it was him. I had that this weekend during one of my readings that I was doing for somebody. So what was that? That was the consciousness. That was Jeshua, right? So that's not the body. The body wasn't here. Just the consciousness, just the feeling was here. Now think about this. There's two things: resurrection and reincarnation, right? Resurrection is taking up the same body. Reincarnation is taking up a different body, right? In resurrection, you have full memory of who you are and the life. In reincarnation, you don't have those memories per se, but they are in there and can come out. So reincarnation is an interesting thing. The other thing is that in the Bible, once again, the disciples saw a man who was born blind, and they asked, was he blind because of his sins or his parents' sins? And Jeshua said, he is blind because of what he did before he came. So before he came, something happened to him that made him blind this time around, right? So in a past life, did he have an experience where he was blinded and he just carried that over into this life? I was born with spina bifida. Did I carry that over from another life? Who knows? Who knows? But the point of Jeshua teaching reincarnation, he totally believed it. But the reason I brought up the Yoda quote is Jeshua believed that everything that you're seeing and experiencing is the face of God, or the penial is what that's called, right? The face of God. So everything you're seeing is the face of God, including the physical form that you have. And the physical form that you have is just illusion in his mind. Luminous beings are we, right? We are the energy, not the crude matter. And for reincarnation, it's a matter of manifesting the body, manifesting a form, or going into a life. Now, do we look at reincarnation from the space of, we choose the experience? I have no idea. I don't have memories of the other side like that, right? People often say that they choose the life they want to experience various certain things, and it totally could be, because I've had experiences in this life as John Davis where I did spend a great deal of my time studying astral travel, and did go out of my body many times. And at one point, being as you know from my talking about 19 psychics going to a regressionist because I'm science minded, same thing here. As I was doing astral travel, I was trying to find things that would validate or verify that I had actually done it. And I was in Annapolis, Maryland, in my camper. I had a camper because I was doing Renaissance festivals. And sometime I'll tell you all about my whole life, because I've done a lot of crazy things in my life. But I was in that camper, and I was practicing astral travel, and I went to my old hometown of Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, which was 2 hours to the east of Annapolis. And I found myself at the home of a friend, and I could see him sleeping. And I kept thinking to myself, I got to find a way to validate what I'm doing here, and or that I was here. And so I just started focusing on him, and I'm saying his name, and I'm saying, purple rhinoceros, purple rhinoceros, purple rhinoceros, purple rhinoceros, purple rhinoceros. So I know if I kept saying purple rhinoceros, and then he said said purple rhinoceros to me, then I would have known full well that I did something. And I finished my astral work that night and slept. And then the next day I called my friend up and I said, "Hey, how are you doing?" He says, "Weird you're calling me today." I said, "Why?" He says, "Man, last night I was having strange dreams. You kept saying purple rhinoceros." He actually said this to me on the phone. So what does that mean? That means that I, John Davis, was outside of the body, was outside of the vision, was outside of the illusion, was outside of this physical, crude matter experience. I, John Davis, my consciousness was out of body and moving and doing things. So the body is just a body. It's just an illusion. It's just a form of thought. And that is what reincarnation is taking up a body and living other experiences, just to live other experiences, really. That's what I believe. But for me, the idea of being out of body or being in body makes no difference, because we are not the crude matter. We are the consciousness. We are the thought. And I one time had a really deep conversation with a monk, and I tried to explain something, and I did it very ineloquently. And I tried to explain something to him, and of course, because of his devout nature and because of his studies, he was looking for the problems in what I was saying to argue against. And I tried to equate our relationship with God as This is going to sound funny, a vat of molasses. Now, if God is a vat of molasses, and in that molasses there are bubbles, and in those bubbles are our consciousness. The question you have to ask yourself, are you the skin of the bubble, or has God formed the bubble around your consciousness to give it space to do that? So are you literally holding God out, or you? And the idea that I was trying to say was, one does not exist without the other. There is no you without the larger source, and there is no idea of dealing with consciousness and reincarnation without having that outer image of self. So in reincarnation, you basically are forming a new bubble with inside the source, and you form this bubble, and God forms it around you because that's the belief, that's the thought, and the beginning is of that creation, the beginning of the end of that place where it goes from your experience to the edge of that bubble is both of you working together, and to me it's a very esoteric thought. It's a very weird thought, but to me it made perfect sense, because whether you're the molasses or the bubble, you're still one thing. You are connected. And the argument the monk gave me is that I was saying I was separate. And I said I was not saying I was separate. I was saying we were both creating a space for experience. And in reincarnation, I think that might be the possibility. Like I say, I don't know. I don't remember the other side at all. That I remember going out of body and having someone tell me I'm not supposed to be there yet, but I don't. But I don't remember having big conversations over there. But the idea really is in reincarnation, you're just stepping into a different form, and I think sometimes that little edge of that bubble is foggy or blocked off so you can't see outside, or it's clear and thin, and people who have big memories of past lives literally have a clearer vision outside of it. And I don't mean clear as in someone's better than I. It just is a natural thing. And when I was regressed, I had the amazing experience, but I ended up having this situation, and the regressionist was shocked by this. I continued to have memories that kept bubbling up for years and years, and still to this day, occasionally. Not like it used to be, but I think it's because that veil is thinner, that edge of that bubble is a little bit more transparent. But did Jeshua teach it? Absolutely, absolutely did. And I'm glad I had a chance to talk about reincarnation, because it doesn't matter who you were; it only matters who you are, right? In every life, no matter who you were, what happened to you, or what you did, it was you at the core. It was you at the core. And your memories of that life are yours. But as I say all the time, it does not matter who you were, it only matters who you are, because you're only really conscious in this present moment. And when you experience that in those past lives, you were conscious then, but now they're just memories. Now they're just things that don't change. They're just what they are. And people get very trapped into, well, this happened. I was burned at a stake in my past life, or I drowned in my past life, and they have these memories, and they're carrying them forward. And the reality of it is you can't get so invested. Why do I talk about my past life as much as I do? Honestly, if you want the honest to God truth of why I talk about my past life like I do, because when I talk about my past life, people listen to what I'm teaching. And to me, my job is to teach in the here and now. My job is to bring this message forward. And so Would anybody have listened to me if they hadn't first heard about my past life? Probably not. Or if they did, it would have taken a long time to get people to listen. But when I talk about those memories and that past life, it gets their attention, and then I can say, look, this is what the teachings are. So in the past, years ago, when I did that work and people got so focused on who I was that they weren't hearing the lessons, that's why I stopped. Because it's not about the past life, it's about the lessons. And reincarnation is just one element in all of our experience. Luminous beings are we. We are not this crude matter. So you can reincarnate over and over again. And Jeshua taught us of our divinity and taught us of our consciousness and taught us that all of this, when you are created in God's image, everything you see, including your hand, is the image of God. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.